Wait, that's can you guys hear me? Wait, should I put as should the mic be off? Kinda. Should the mic be off? I don't know. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. Can you guys hear me? I don't know if you guys can hear me. Okay, I think you can. Oh, my earbud still hasn't connected. But welcome in Raven. Congrats on being first. Oh, lah. Welcome. Couldn't connect. Kill me. Wait, sorry. Wait, is there an alert or something? No. One time, 2 times in total. Okay, connected. What the hell? Okay, there we go. And then wait, I need to watch YouTube. But I feel like I need to delete my browser history first, because then again I will be doxing myself. Can you guys hear me though? Hopefully you can. Connection is so slow.
Blender. It can.
Okay, wait. Blender, we can see Blender. Okay, that's Blender. And how to delete that? Delete that. Okay, I think my search history should be fine now. So I can just and then
So this is Blender. It can do 3D modeling, texturing, lighting, shading, and rendering. And I'm going to show you how to do all of those things whilst you make your very own donut. And I know this looks complex and challenging, but I promise you it is achievable for even a complete beginner that has never opened Blender, such as yourself.
I did
And I know
search
this
some things
because
related to my
millions of
college,
beginners have already made their donut, because this is the 5th version of this tutorial. I remake it for every major Blender release, this one for Blender 5.0. And speaking of which, if you have already made a donut from a previous version, rather than make another one, I've actually just released a course designed for post-donut beginners. So if you're interested in that, you can click the link below. For everybody else, you need to download Blender. So if you haven't already, click the link below. That'll take you to blender.org, and then just hit the big download button. It's on a work computer that 8% of your time, because it's the 3D world. Whether you're making a character, you're building an environment, it all happens right here. So the first thing you need to learn is how to move around in this space.
Roommate is here, so that's why I'm kind of like whispering.
By middle mouse pushing. So your scroll wheel, if you just push it in until it clicks, that's your middle mouse button. And then if you just drag that around, you can orbit. If you don't have a middle mouse button, a lot of people don't. They're on like a laptop with a trackpad or something. You guys will struggle. It's definitely easier if you have.
Okay, I can do the navigation, I think.
That'll do the same thing. Which part do I click? Or the third alternative way to do it, edit, preferences, and then underneath input, emulate 3-button mouse. And then if you hold down Alt and then left click drag, that will do the same thing. I don't want that. By the way, whilst I am here, a value that you will want to change, if you're on a 4K monitor, you will probably have noticed that like Blender looks like this, where like everything is really super tiny and you have to squint to see it. So underneath interface, I change my resolution scale to at least a 1.5, usually like 1.8. But for tutorials, I go even higher so you can really see everything. But it's obviously much easier to use when you can see things clearly. Okay, so middle mouse drag, that's how you orbit around. You can see we're focusing on our cube, middle mouse drag, and that will pan that little hand. That will do the same thing. About zoom, you can probably guess, you might have already done it by mistake, but with a little magnifying glass there, just click or also move you in as well. So I've thrown a lot of keyboard shortcuts at you already. Middle mouse for this, because I'm going to throw a lot more at you. If you don't want to have to write them down yourself, I have done it for you. So I put together a Google Doc with all of the most common.
Google Doc? You even need a Google Doc? What? Oh, there's a link. What do I need? Must view, center 2D cursor, move activity object, move active camera, set as active camera, mode pie menu. Contour plus tab, mode pie menu. Interesting. Mirror, contour arm, then YZ. Oh, okay. Oh, so mirror have a shortcut. Set parallel, clear parallel, toggle snapping location. I don't know what any of those means. Select LMB. What the heck is LMB? Oh, left mouse button. What? Setting file menus. Shift S. Rotation file menu. Okay, I think I'm good so far.
Hotkeys and shortcuts that you might need to use. A lot of people do that, and it's big time saver.
And all.
Okay, now it's really common to like get lost. Like one way, if you just over here, this gizmo thing.
Where do we get? Where do we make it? I think
things with lines.
I think I'm good.
You can also use the tilde key, which is that little key underneath your escape key. So if you hold that down and then just drag over where it says view selected and then release, that'll do the exact same thing. So that is how you can quickly change focus to the selected object. And yeah, as I said, you do this all the time.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm going to be using numpad period from now on. Okay, so we're making a donut.
We do
not need our cube here, so let's delete it. You can just hit delete on your keyboard, or what I like to do is hit X, which is the alternative way. And it's just easier because my finger is like right there. I know it's another hotkey. X and then delete. And now I want to add a new object, and I can do that by going to add at the top of the screen there, or alternatively, the hotkey, another one to throw at you, Shift A, and that will just put it wherever your cursor is, and it's the exact same list. But this list here is, I mean, it's extensive. There's stuff in here that I have never used in my 21 years of using Blender. Speaker, never, ever used it. Don't know what it's for. Most of the time, what you're looking for is underneath mesh. So these are your primitive mesh objects. And generally, when you're making something, you pick one of these that most resembles or is closest to what it is you're making. Like if you're making a mailbox, you might start with a cube. You're making a lamp post, you might start with a cylinder. We're starting, well, we're trying to make a donut, so we need to start with a torus.
Okay, let's make it torus as well. Change that. And then general, right? Just a new one. General. And then that's that, delete that, Shift A, mesh torus. Okay, that's what we got so far. It's not yet a donut, so change back to the video.
Is basically a donut. Look at that. So that's cool. It's a wimpy looking donut though, right? It's very, very flimsy. We want to make it look more thicker, right? So in the bottom left-hand corner, there's a little box that says add torus, and this has additional options for us. Now, if you accidentally clicked off after you added the torus, that box is gone. You can momentarily bring it back by hitting F9, but that's only if you haven't changed something. So essentially, yeah, it's called the last used function in Blender. So that immediately after you do an action in Blender, sometimes you see in the bottom left-hand corner additional options which you can tweak and change things if you need. So if you don't see it, it just means you've done something else and it's gone. But yeah, you can bring it back momentarily by hitting F9 sometimes. But I usually just like redo it. Anyways. So first thing I want to change is the size of this thing. So it is 1 meter, which is like 3 feet for the Americans. It's a big donut.
2 feet for the Americans.
It should be about 10% of that. So 0.1, which is 10 centimeters, roughly about that. And then if I zoom in by scrolling forward, I just need to change my minor radius until it looks somewhat like a donut. So I want to just orbit up, right, and around. So I'm just middle mouse moving so I can see the inside.
Okay, let me do that as well. Do you know this Blender guy? No, I don't. Who is he? Who is this Blender guy? One, right? And then this one. Do I just select? Wait, is that too small? I feel like that's the radius is too small. Actually, this in Australia. Oh, have you met him? Minor radius. Okay, wait. Okay, I did that, but I think it's kind of like it's too small. Resize. Oh, this is what he meant by. And now the toes is gone. Oh shit. Okay. Shift A. Also, Revan, have you met him? I mean, I don't think you did, but you know, who knows if we've met him. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's watch the tutorial first, because if I move it, like if I make any changes now, the whole thing's gonna be gone. So
then I'll just scroll in like so.
0.1,
until yeah, and I'm just going to change this value until it looks like a donut. Now you can see as I move this, like it's going really quick and I can't get it on the right value. So when you're clicking and dragging on a value in Blender, if you hold down Shift, that will use smaller increments. And that's another one you use all the time because it's, yeah, sometimes you need small values and it's helpful to get smaller increments like that. So that's pretty good. I might go with that. Yeah, about a point 0.057. Okay. And then the other thing you can change here is like the resolution of the donut. You can go like really PlayStation 1 graphics, maybe.
PlayStation 1
I'm going to
graphics.
keep it at 48, but I'm going to increase the other one to about, let's go 18, like that. 16, 18, yeah, we'll go 18. And that's just a little bit more resolution, and it's just going to help us a little bit later on when we start to shape the donut. Okay, but once I've got that, I can just...
Okay, let's see, let's do that as well. I guess in my blender. And then shift. How do I get like that? Shift. Was it 57? It was 57 he made it. I feel like this one is a bit too big. Like it's too small. What is going on? I'll make it bigger. 1.0. Didn't he made it like... Oh shit. Oh no. That is too big. 1.0. Is that good enough? I want it kinda smaller though. Oh, I think that's looking pretty good. Is it? I'm gonna look back at his previous settings.
Just click off a little bit later on when we start to shape the donut. Okay, but once I've got
1
that,
meter.
I can just click off, and now
I got it. This one is 1 meter. This one is 1 meter, but this one is 0.057. Oh, what? What does it look like that? Did I do the settings wrong? Minor radius, what? Minor radius. Major radius 0.1. Oh, okay. So that's why. 0.1. Oh my god, that is so small. What the heck? This is this. Are you meant to make it that small? It's so small. Wait, I guess fine. I guess. And then 48, 18. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. Oh, Banpo escape. Oh, I was focused. Alright, let's go back to watching him. Also, how is everyone doing by the way today? I just finished my test. I just finished the first test of the year. The first test of my university year, and like it's pretty good, I guess. It wasn't that hard. I don't know if I'm just being overconfident, but I think I can get at least 70%. Maybe I can get into the dean's list. I don't know. Hopefully we can get like at least 3.5 to see GPA.
But once I've got that, I can just click off, and now those options are gone. We've committed. That's it. That is the starting point of our donut. Now, the next thing you're probably wondering is, it still kind of looks like PlayStation 1 graphics, Andrew. And that's because it has flat shading. So basically there's two states for a mesh. There's smooth shading or there is flat shading, and it defaults to flat. If you want to change it to smooth, you just right click the object and then go shade smooth like that. And there we go, it's fixed.
That one I know, that one you haven't taught me. Right click, shape smooth. Oh, thank you for the luck, Tofu. Have fun, thank you. You have fun too, have fun with the luck. Okay, I made it shape smooth, and now
so basically shade smooth without getting too technical. Anytime there is like two faces, it just kind of smooths out that point like fakery. So it's not actually adding any additional computation times, which is important, but it's...
Okay, wait, I think I have a better way of doing this. Or do I? Okay, I think I do. Oh wait, but if not I will show you guys the whole thing. Oh no, I can't. Okay, I think I can just like, just delete that tab. And then okay, are you guys seeing this right now? So you guys can view the video at the bottom, and then I will make changes according to the video, and then you guys can see it like at one time. Let me just delete this tab as well. Don't want to accidentally dust myself now. It's kinda... oops. Oh right, yeah, this like this, okay.
appearing to the eye to be smooth. Okay, so in previous donut versions, we would start making the icing, and although that's fun to make like dribbling icing, it can be a little complicated. A lot of users ran into their first roadblocks at that time. So instead, we're going to do something a little bit easier to start with and more practical, and that's to make a coffee mug. So we need to add in a new object, which if you can remember from before, it's the add menu at the top there, or the hotkey, as I like to use, Shift A. And then underneath mesh, you're looking for something that most resembles the object you're trying to create. No prizes for guessing, the cylinder. Okay, so it comes in very, very big. It's completely engulfing our donut. So again, in the bottom left-hand corner, click that little add cylinder, and then I'm going to change the radius first of all, just to bring this back. You can like do this after the fact, like resize something, but it just helps to, you know, at this point, see it all together. I think I'm going to make it around holding down Shift and just kind of drag it back and forth. Yeah, about 0.13, or exactly 0.13. And then the depth, this is just the height of it. And again, you can change this later on, but just want to see it roughly the right size. The big one that's important is the vertices. And we're actually going to make this look more low res. Now, why would we make it look more low res? Because now it's obviously very jagged. The reason for this is that very soon we're going to be adding in something called a subsurf modifier, which adds over the top of our existing mesh. It adds more geometry, like it doubles the geometry and it kind of smooths it out. So actually, if you start too high like this, then you're adding, like doubling that geometry and doubling it again, and then you can quickly end up with something that's too computationally heavy. So when you're working and you know you're going to be doing something subdiv, sometimes it helps to start like chunkier, low res. Anyway, just trust me and set it to 14, like that.
Okay, 14,
great.
13,
so we've got another
24.
object, and they are
another object, right? Shift A, mesh, cylinder. Was it 0 0.1, 0 0.10? 0 0.1, I think. Then this one is 0 0.24. This one is 14. Can my laptop even handle 14? Radius is the radius. Oh, radius is 0.3, 0.13, 0.13. Okay. And that's what we got so far. Okay.
Like that. Okay, great. So we've got another object and they are completely overlapping. So how do we separate things? Some of you might already know this. You can guess, right? Left-hand side there's a tool that looks like it would be able to move something. It's the move tool. So this is one way to move things. You activate that and you get this little gizmo, and look, I can move it and I can separate them. So this is moving things along the axes. You can also just drag on that, click and drag on that little white circle there, and then that's like freehand drag around. I will say most Blender users don't actually use and move things this way because it's a lot of effort every time you want to move something to like go to the sidebar, activate the tool, click it, move it. It's like most people don't do that. Instead, they remember the hotkey, and the hotkey to move in Blender, and you'll be using this a lot. So again, this is on my keyboard shortcut. It's all in there, but the hotkey is G for grab. Now, you will notice very quickly that when you tap G, the moment you tap it, you are already in the move state. So it's now attached to my cursor,
right, do we need
even
to
though
go
I didn't click. Okay, so and
we
here's
don't
the
need to
other
go to the
thing.
edit
My cursor could
mode
be on
yet.
the other side of the screen. It doesn't have to be anywhere near the object. And then the moment you tap G, it's now anchored to that cursor. And even more, I think it's cool, when you go to the other side of the screen, it actually, your cursor appears on the other side. So it's just like an infinitely repeating thing there. But
that is fun.
At first, this is like hard to wrap your head around because Blender does this for a lot of things, like not just moving something, but also rotating something. The moment I tap R, which is how to rotate something, or S, okay, I thought I might as well just teach you all three at the same time. So G to move something, G for grab, R to rotate, or S to scale something. But you'll see in each of those states, the moment you hit the key, no matter where your cursor is, it's in that state. And that's actually a good thing because, as I said, the number of times you need to move things and rotate and scale things in 3D, if you had to every single time, that's a lot of extra steps activated. Anyways, okay, so, but whilst I'm in the move state by tapping G, I can also lock it to a specific axis, just like with those arrow axes, you can actually see them up there in that little circle. I want to be the front and center, and I want this to be at the back there. But then how do I change my view so I'm no longer just pivoting on my donut? I want to shift my focus to that selected object. It's number pad period. Or again, holding down that tilde key under your escape button and then hitting view selected is the same thing.
Okay, let me try that. Because G, that one I knew, and then he said just gonna move it to the back, right? I'm gonna do G, Y. Okay, yeah. Now it's just like that, right? Or is it that's too far back? Okay, that's fine. And then this one is, I've never known this. View selected. Okay. This one, Raven did not teach me. That guy did. Okay, let's go back to him.
Okay, so let's make this look like a coffee mug. So we have to edit this object, and to edit an object, we have to change what mode we are in. So in the top left-hand corner of the screen, there's a little drop down, which if you click, we can change it into edit mode. Okay, so when you're in edit mode, you can see the state has changed. The object that was selected now has in edit mode. You can't actually select any object. And it's worth pointing out this because this is a really common thing. A lot of beginners, they say, I don't know what happened, but I couldn't select anything in Blender. And usually it's just they're in the wrong state. They're in edit mode, they forgot, and then they tried to like come over here and then click something and they're like, why is it not selecting? Okay, so you have to be in object mode if you want to select an object. And if you want to edit something, you have to be in edit mode. But going to this drop down and doing this time and again would, again, be annoying. So Blender, of course, has a hotkey for it, and that is Tab. So Tab will just, so that's, yeah, good one to remember, Tab. All right, so in edit mode, when I'm in this state here, these little points here, these are called vertices. These are the points that make up faces. Okay, like this. And again, Blender has hotkeys for everything. So if you want to just know the hotkey, it's 1 to do vertice select, 2 to do edge select, and then 3 to do face select.
Okay, I never
Again,
know that.
make sure you get my keyboard shortcut guide, because it's a lot to remember. So I want to select the top of this cup here. It's got a lid on it that I don't want. So in face select mode, selecting that face, I'm going to hit X. Now it's going to ask me, what part do you want to delete? Which might sound redundant, but there is quite a lot of times in Blender you want to delete, even though you've selected a bunch of faces, you want to delete the entire vertices of those faces. So we have to confirm we want to delete just the faces from this list. And there we go.
We add solidify
so we've now got a cup
modifier.
with a hole in it. Great. But this cup will not do. It is too paper thin. We could cut our finger on that edge there. So we need to add some thickness to this cup. And while we could do this in edit mode, like you could select everything and extrude it in and whatnot, we don't need to, because there is actually a function we can do to add thickness to anything without needing to go into edit mode. And that is underneath your modifiers. And the one that we're looking for is solidify. So this is underneath the generate, and just in case this changes for a future version of Blender, you can also go to search at the top there, and you could just type in solidify from the list. Okay, so now that we've got that, you can see we've got a bunch of options, and you'll notice that our mesh now has some thickness to it, and I can change this thickness here. Now, watch what happens as I enter into edit mode. You will notice as I select these faces here, I can't select this inside part of the cup there. And that's an important point, because modifiers are not actually adjusting the real mesh. So the real mesh still exists here. If I disable this from the viewport by clicking this little monitor button there, you'll see that my mesh has not changed. This is just applying this effect after the fact. So it's basically in object mode. It's taking whatever mesh that you give it, which is this, and then it's adding thickness to every face, essentially. So the reason this is so useful is that this is a non-destructive workflow. So I could, at any point, I could be doing a bunch of changes to my mug here. I could, we'll get to all that later on. We could, change the size and things. And then later on I can go, you know what? I think that's a little bit too thick. I'm going to change that. And I can come back to that and very quickly adjust it. So non-destructive, and it's obviously very helpful for a lot of things. Okay, so I've given it some thickness, but I also want to round this corner here. That's way too jagged. Just like before I said, we're going to add in an extra layer on top, which adds more geometry, and that is called your add modifier, generate subdivision surface.
Okay, I did not know that, but before that, we're gonna... Oh shit. My bad. You guys still seeing everything? Oh no. Did you guys see my what's the word? Okay, this is not my wallpaper, should be fine. And then we're gonna go to edit mode, gonna select the vertices. The faces. The face, click as faces. Okay, and then go back to tab. We add modifiers. Generate solidify. I think. Oops, too thick. Maybe just like that. That should be fine. Try. So it's too thin. Okay, seems good to me. And then got a little blender guy, and then he said.
So yeah, all the way down there. You use it all the time, but it's like buried in there. Okay, so subdivision surface. So this appears to have like screwed up the mesh. It's like, whoa, what actually happened there? Let's just increase the levels viewport. So this is just increasing the number of times that it doubles the geometry. So you can see this is what we start with, right? This is the start. This is one level. Then this is 2 levels. And then this is 3 levels. And every time you do it, it's doubling the geometry. But you can see it's giving us the effect we want. It's smoothing out that edge there. But because of the way that it works, like basically, if you look at, let's go back to this. We've got this hard corner here, right? It's just like a 90-degree corner. So let me get in a little bit closer here so you can kind of see it. Yeah, it's like a 90-degree, perfectly like that. So when you add in a subdivision surface, it's basically saying, okay, so there's a point here, there is a point all the way over here, and there is a point that's going to go all the, like it's so far it's off the screen, but it's all the way down there. So what I need to do is I need to average out those points. So take the middle point of those 3. So essentially from here to somewhere around here, and I'm going to add in a point like here. Right? And then if you do another level, like level 2, it then places a point here, and then another point here. And then if you do another level, it places another point here, another point here, another point here. And because there's 2 sides to this mug, there's like another one happening on that side, right? So we've now just got this like really super like oval shaped edge like this, okay? Which is why when I turn it on, we get this effect there. So what we first of all need to do in edit mode with our...
okay, before that, let me just change it as well. And then add another modifier, right? Modifier, generate subdivision surface. Oh, announcement. Um, 3. Okay, I don't like the pointy thingy, but fine by me. Try to make it a bit thicker. Should I... where's the solidifier? This one? I think I'm gonna make the solidifier a bit thicker. Fine. That's good, that's good. Alright.
Mug here. So I am in, actually it doesn't matter what mode I'm actually in here. But what I need to do is essentially tighten an edge where that smoothing is happening. So it's no longer happening from all the way here to smooth it all the way down to there. I want to happen at like just to about there. So I need to add in more geometry onto this mesh here. So to do that, we need to add a loop cut. That is how you add in another level of another edge. So Control R will add in this loop cut. I believe you can also find it from the mesh, like somewhere in here. Yeah, there you go. Edge, loop cut and slide if you wanted to look it in there. But it's, yeah, Control R. That's another one you use all the time. So when I hit Control R, it's saying, where do you want to place the cut in this mesh? And I could place it, you know, anywhere between a face, essentially. So I'm going to place it along this middle. So you do a single click, and then it's saying, where do you want to place that vertically on this this row of faces, essentially. So you can see as I bring it towards the top there, it's tightening that edge there. Okay, and that's exactly what I want. I want that edge to be much tighter than it was before. So that edge is now looking good, but now what about this one at the bottom there? This one's looking even worse. We've got a lot to fix here. But first, I need to do another loop cut. So Control R, and then again, single click to confirm I want it on that row of faces. And then I'm just sliding it along until it's, you know, roughly about there at the bottom of my mug. Okay.
Okay, let me do that as well. You said it doesn't matter, but I'm just gonna go in edit mode as well. Control R. Yeah, seems fine. And then tighten it up. Is it too thick? Great. Control R. That, and then tighten it up. Looks good, I guess. And then another one, Control R. Then this time, put it all the way to the bottom. Oh. Okay. I'm liking that. Ooh, okay, that is like kind of looking like a coffee mug. Just missing the handle, but that's fine. Go back to the video.
And then you can see it's like this whole area here, this face here, it's become like it's turned it into a star. And not to get too complicated, but basically a subsurf modifier, it has to know what to do. And generally, if there's like faces that are made up of 4 vertices, this is getting complicated, I can tell. It knows what to do. It makes it like nice and smooth. But the moment you have a face that is made up of more than 4 vertices, it's called an n-gon, and it doesn't really know what to do with it. I mean, it does, but you don't know what it's going to do, and it just can make things look a little ugly. N-gon is kind of like a dirty word in 3D space. It's like, you never want to have an n-gon. They are actually useful, and they do have a purpose, but generally speaking, they're good to avoid if you don't know what you're doing. So anyway, I should tell you what I'm doing. The way to fix this is I need to add another loop that kind of just goes around here, right there. So that way I've only got from there to there, and then I can have my ugly star or whatever happening underneath my coffee mug. So I need to add a loop cut, but I can't add a loop cut on just a single face. Instead, what I need to do is it's called inset, to take a single face and then just like add in a loop around that face. And you do that by hitting I. So I, and then just like it's already active. Again, this is the way, this is why I spent a while to explain it. The moment you activate a tool, you're already in that selection state. So I hit I, and wherever my cursor is, it's now going like, where do you want to put this inset? Okay. So I'm just moving it back and forth until I get it. How tight do I want this edge to look? Something like that, maybe. I mean, it's underneath the coffee mug. It doesn't really matter that much, but yeah, something like that. And there we go. So you can see this looks a lot.
I don't know. Where's the like? What do you call it? Hold on. This is like, donut. Where's the donut? Okay, but anyway, inside one. I guess that's looking more like a coffee mug now. Does it? I don't know. It's just too thick. I feel like the solidifier is so thick. Solidifiers, maybe make it less thick, like that, like this. And then
A lot nicer. And again, because we are in a non-destructive workflow, I've still got my solidify modifier at the top here, right? I could change the thickness of this. I can make this a really chunky looking coffee mug or just a really thin one. And that is the benefit of a non-destructive workflow. And then I can also change how high res do I want my coffee mug to look. And this is the way to work in 3D. This is the best way to do it because, if a client wants you to change something or whatnot, keeping in a flexible workflow is definitely a good place to be. Okay, so we have created the start of a coffee mug, and we have also created a donut. Good time to save. Good time to save. So File, Save As, or Shift Control S, and then save as.
Wait, oh, this.
So
Oh my
the
God,
way I
this is
like to
not
save
the
things, and you might want to copy this,
a
is
one-part
to
video. This
you come up with a name,
is
underscore whatever,
video.
and then you put a number after it, and then you can actually see I've already saved my file.
The hell?
I don't want to override my existing save in case I need to go back to it for whatever reason. So I just want to add a number to it. And in other softwares, you have to come here and you have to type in the number, right? Not Blender. Blender has a hotkey for everything. If you hit plus or minus on your numpad or on the little field here, oh, you can't even see it. I'm right over the top of it, right there. This little field, these little plus and minus, it'll automatically add a number to the end of your file. So that's, really useful. So I'm just going to add a 2 there, and I'm going to hit save. All right, so if you're watching this in the split version of the tutorial, you can click here to watch part 2, or if you're watching the combined single...
What? I thought it was a one-part video, and I was like, I donut in 30 minutes? Like fully rendered too? It's freaking amazing, and it is in fact not a one-part video. Okay, Control S. Donut save. Okay, I made a cup before, but not like this. But yeah, there might be a better way. That cup looks better than mine. But we're learning every day, aren't we? So that's cool. And let us watch the second part video. Please tell me this is the last part.
Welcome back. It is time to make our coffee mug look like a coffee mug and not...
Please tell me this is the last part. I cannot watch any more part. Homework? There's a homework? What the hell? Okay.
Like a sad little cup. So we could try to model this from our imagination, because hey, we all pick up coffee mugs, we know what they look like, or we think we know what they look like. Something that you learn very quickly in 3D is that when you model something from imagination, it almost always comes out looking a little bit away the information doorknob, like a sphere bit, and that's kind of it. But then if you were to make that, you end up with something that looks really basic and boring and bad. And then you go actually look at a real doorknob and you forget there's all this other detail that's just not important to your brain, like the little lip inside, the little hole that's on there that's so you can put a key in to kind of like pry it open, or a rim that kind of like cuts into it, so there's like a separate seam around it. There's the privacy lock on the front. All these things that just don't matter to you when you're turning a handle, and so you forgot that they even existed because you never even saw it, really. So the same thing applies to even something as common as a coffee mug. So it helps, when possible, to use reference images. Now, you can get reference images from anywhere because we have the power of the internet. And you can type in handmade coffee mug and you can pick any mug you want to create.
I need to.
There's a lot. And, if you want to pick one of these, if you want to just go on Google Images, you can pick one of these and go for it. I'm going to give you an image that I've used, but you can... I was like, oh, yeah, I've said so many of them, it doesn't even matter. But no, to hand make something, obviously any of these mugs, they take more than a few hours to make if you're making it by hand. So $33 is probably break even for them. Probably not even making any money. It's on my website. I've got all the links to everything we're going to be using in this tutorial. But there's two ways to add images. So one way is to go to the add menu and then just go image and then say reference.
That's how you
and then
add
you just
reference?
pick wherever the reference is and you can drop it in. The alternative way,
Asking that
and it's
question
something
is the
that we
day
didn't used to
one.
be able to do, and that's to just drag over from wherever it is on your computer and then just drop it into Blender, and it will recognize it as an image and it will bring it in as an image object. So either of those ways will work. So this is the image. This is the one we're going to use. Now, if you quickly orbit around, you'll notice that it's come in at a funny angle.
Did you have a good sleep?
Now, I don't know why Blender does this. I think it's because they think people want it locked to the perspective that they were at when they brought it in there, but I've never needed that. So we just need to clear this rotation and then rotate it to the way we want. So to clear the rotation, I'm going to hit Alt-R.
Thank you for the
alternative way, Object, Clear, Rotation, Alt-R, it's the same thing. Now it's flat. So now we need to rotate it, prop it upright so that it is flat onto how it should be.
It's getting complicated. I'm just gonna put it in.
So I need to rotate it.
2 speed. I'm getting bored. My attention span is getting cooked right now. Step 1. How do I increase it? What? Playback speed. Can I not drag it? No, I don't want to pay you. Can I not change it? Wait, can I not even change the playback speed here? What is this? Is the extension off or what? I think I put in the extension. Oh no, it's not here. Did I delete the YouTube extension? Man.
So I'm going to hit R. So but we're now in freehand rotate mode, and it's relative to where we were looking at it.
Yeah, I think we do need to add a... We're gonna add it. I don't want to add... Okay, I know how to add references, but I don't want to look at the references.
Which is, this...
I'm not in the mode.
And then hit enter. And there we go.
I know.
So that's how we bring it in and clear the rotation and set it up. So, all right. Now it's way too big. So hot down.
Scale, yes, blah, blah,
okay, blah. So I can do that by clicking this little -Y at the top there. That'll do front on. Or the hotkeys, because I use my numpad. For those of you blessed with a numpad, you'll like it. You can hit numpad 1, that's front view, numpad 3, that's side view, or numpad 7, that is top view. But I use those a lot, but again, you can use these if you don't have it. Okay, so front view, and then I'm going to scroll in to zoom.
I'm getting sleepy too. I'm so tired today.
To the side. And now I'm going to move this over here, and I'm going to scale this down again to get it roughly to be the size of my mug here. Because I know that this mug is right relative to the donut, so it should be good. The top of this rim here to roughly match the bottom down there. So this, I want that to match that. So it's still a little bit too big. And you'll notice I can't really easily do it from this angle. I mean, I can, but the problem is that
are
this
we doing
photograph is taken with a
camera be serious. I feel so scam right now.
But
this is freaking scam. I don't want to continue. Yes. My AMD software aspects. It's not doing homework. I want to learn how to make the handle, but damn.
But we are looking in 3D, and actually when we're in an axis like this, the reason it all becomes flattened is because it is in perspective mode. Distorted and angles and things, so The best reference is actually reference, which is in orthographic, like blueprints for something, but you usually don't have that, so you just go from something like this and just kind of best guess it. Anyways, okay, cool. So that's roughly the right size of image. Now we can model by going into edit mode, by hitting tab, toggle in and out of edit mode, and we can start to shape this to look like
I have
this
chicken here
so
that I bought from night market last night, but it's last night. It's been like what,
towards
8
the top.
hours?
Both lines are
8
kind of tapered
hours.
upwards.
But
And then
almost
there's a kind of a
24
midpoint
hours. I think it's still
around
good though,
about
so I'm
here
still gonna
where it
eat it.
starts to invert and it goes
If
in
I have
the
some
other
height, you guys will
direction.
know
Okay,
why.
so it's a very smooth object and perfect for using subsurf modifier, which is what we've already got. So to get that taper going up to the side, I want to shrink the top of the mug here just a little bit. So I'm going to hold down Alt and I'm going to go into Edge Select mode at the top there, and then Alt, and then just left click on that line there. Not on like a middle point like here, or it'll select a different edge, but just on
You've been watching me for a week.
And then
Thank
now
you.
I want to scale this in to just shrink
this. I was not paying attention.
Okay, so it's a very smooth object. Tab, toggle in and out of. Actually, when we're in an axis like this, the reason it all becomes flattened is because it is in perspective mode. If you click that little button there, that'll actually put you back into perspective mode, and you can see how things get distorted and like angles and things. So the best reference is actually reference, which is in orthographic, like blueprints for something, but you usually don't have that, so you just go from something like this and just kind of best guess it. Anyways, okay, cool. So that's roughly the right size of image. Now we can model by going into edit mode, by hitting tab, toggle in and out of edit mode, and we can start to shape this to look like this mug here. So the first thing that we'll notice is like the general broad shape of the mug is that it actually kind of tapers towards the top. Both lines are kind of tapered upwards. And then there's a kind of a midpoint around about here where it starts to invert and it goes in the other direction. Okay, so it's a very smooth object and perfect for using subsurf modifier, which is what we've already got. So to get that taper going up to the side, I want to shrink the top of the mug here just a little bit. So I'm going to hold down Alt and I'm going to go into Edge Select mode at the top there, and then Alt, and then just left click on that line there. Not on like a middle point like here, or it'll select a different edge, but just on the middle there. And then now I want to scale this in to just shrink the size just a little bit. So I'm going to scale that to there. And then I'm going to select a line underneath it, and I'm going to do the same thing. So Alt, click on that line, that edge, and then just scale it, about halfway there. Now I want to create
Sorry for the noise for the ASMR.
This like widened point right here. And you can see like from here, like there's a lip at the bottom, but like from here to here, and then it goes up, I'd say probably 20% up the mug. That's where that middle point is. So this line is close, but I'd probably pull it up a little bit. So I'm going to double tap G, and that'll let me slide that edge there. And I'll put it to, yeah, it's about there. And now I want to pull it out to make it a little bit thicker. So I'm going to hit S and just pull that out to about there. And now I can see this line here is not quite right. So I'm going to scale this one out as well, just a little bit. Okay, that's roughly the right shape. Okay, now this bit at the bottom here. Okay, so I can see already that I need a little bit more detail. So I'm actually going to have to slide this line up here. So I'm going to hit double G to just kind of slide it up, and I'm going to pull it to about there. You can see now we've got kind of a more curved taper on that edge there, and I'm going to hit S to scale. I'm going to double tap G again. And I'm just by eye, just guessing to try to get this form here. But you can see, you can very quickly start to shape any sort of object you want by just moving, sliding lines around and scaling things. Okay, so now obviously this face at the bottom here, so if I go into face select mode or by just hitting 3, this has to be this little lip at the bottom there. What do you call that? I guess like a lip? There's probably a word for it. All the pottery people watching this tutorial are going to tell me what it is. And they'll also tell me about the price of manual labor and why that coffee mug was quite well priced, I'm sure. Anyways, I'm going to, I'll scale it in a little bit. I'm just trying to guess, like, where would it start? But, you just do it by eye. I think about there. Okay, and now with this face here selected, I need more geometry because I want to actually pull it out from that face there. But I can't just like pull it down, right? Because now it's stretching it. I need more geometry. And so that is called an extrusion. And thankfully, the hotkey for extrusion is just the first letter of its name, which is E. E for extrusion. And just like inset and everything else in Blender, the moment you tap it, you're now in that mode. I can pull it upwards. I can pull it downwards. Obviously, downwards is what we want. So I'm going to do a single click right there. Okay. And then now, if I go back and just look at it in object mode, and by the way, if you want to see it like the donut, you want to make it look smooth, you can as well by going to Shade Smooth. And that's okay, but you can see that this line here, this is a much tighter line, okay? And the reason that this is happening is, of course, because of Subsurf Modifier and the way that it works. It's essentially going from here to here, and then kind of like, I guess, like a midpoint in the middle there, and it's trying to taper from there all the way in. But then also from this point here, it now has to taper from there to kind of smooth out that line. So we end up with just kind of like this like very smoothed out little nub. But to fix it, we just have to add in more geometry so that it doesn't start the smooth so much further up. So to do that, we need another loop cut, which you might remember the hotkey, or you can find it in the menu, Edge, Loop Cut, and Slide, but it is Control R. So Control R, when you're in this mode, where do you want to put it first? So do a single click on this face here. So click, and then it's now saying where do you want to slide it to. So I'm going to slide one to the bottom, like so, and then I need another one right above it. So I did a click there to confirm it. So I'm going to hit Control R, and now I'm placing it on the exact same place, and I'm just going to pull it up. And there we go. And now you can see it's much tighter at the bottom there, and it looks good. And if you really wanted to clean up this bottom base there, you can see we kind of got that like starfishy pattern happening. You could do the same thing we did before, which is select that face there and then do an inset. It's not really that essential. No one's really going to notice it, but you might, and maybe you want to clean it up. So yeah, but that's pretty good. That's great. That's a good start to the mug. It looks good.
That looks like a Japanese
now it's time for the
the one they used to do it
of making this handle. So you can see it starts about here and then obviously extrudes around and goes back into itself and is joined here. So how do we do this? So basically, whenever there is a join, and you can see there's like, like a nice like bevel edge there kind of thing, it has to physically be part of the geometry of this. You can't just have it like existing out in space, because then it won't appear to be joined together. So essentially, we have to find somewhere on this mesh to start the handle from. And that point is actually here, right here, which is why I've modeled it this way. Right here is where I'm going to extrude out. Now, before I show you how to extrude it, I first of all want to show you, I'm going to do something and it's going to mess it up. And I'm going to then show you why we need to do something else first before we start extruding. So if I was to extrude this out, we could do the whole handle here, get it back there, make it look perfect. And then later on, look at our mug and go, oh no, what is going on? The reason this happens is because of, you might remember, the solidify modifier, which these modifiers, they're not part of the mesh, right? It's happening after the fact. So it's adding a thickness to any mesh that we have here. And it's now adding a thickness to the actual handle itself. So how do we fix that? We fix that by making this go from a modifier to real, like actually bake it into the mesh so that it's actually real geometry. And the way you do that is, first of all, let me just undo all of those, Control Z, of course. The way you do it is by going to the modifier, and then in the little drop down in the top there, right next to that little camera icon, there is an apply. So when you click that, it's disappeared. And now when you go into edit mode though, you can see all that geometry that wasn't there before is now actually part of it. And you can see it if you turn off the subsurf modifier. So I can now make changes to the inner part of my model there without it affecting the rest of it. So it's actual real mesh that we can manipulate. Obviously, the downside is it's no longer non-destructive. So that slider that we had for changing the thickness of the mug, we no longer have the slider. It would just mean if we wanted to change the thickness of the mug, we would have to like do it ourselves, like selecting all that stuff and doing it. But that's fine. You have to break the workflow eventually to add in customization. But there you go. So anyways, now that I've got this, now when I select this face here, I can start to do the extrusion. So importantly, make sure you're selecting the right face. If you were to select this one by mistake and then start trying to do your handle and then like twist it around, it would start to get screwed up very, very quickly. So make sure that you've got this red line that's like intersecting your mug there, that it is, yeah, like it's that one. It's like bang on to the middle. And you can actually check if you go into top view mode, it should be directly in the middle of the mug there. Okay, so with that selected, I'm going to go into front view mode with numpad 1, or hitting that little green thing. And then I'm going to hit, again, the hotkey that we use for extrusion is E to extrude out. Now, when you do that, it's using the normals, the hidden, it's like the hidden direction of each of the faces that are on your mesh, okay? So it's kind of extruding it out like that. For most of you watching this, the extrusion there worked perfectly. But every now and then you go to extrude something and it doesn't work. And it's because there's something wrong with the normals of the face that you tried to extrude from. Basically, it would just mean you would have to clear the normals first. So basically you would select the face, then hit Shift N, and it would clear normals. I've got, by the way, throughout this tutorial, that you're going to run into a lot of problems that I might not be able to explain to you. So I've actually created a troubleshooting guide called the Unstuck Yourself Guide. So the link for that is below as well. But this is just like a database of all the problems you might run into whilst you're doing this tutorial, because we noticed on the Blender Guru Discord, link for that is below as well, where you can ask questions and share your renders and stuff. But a lot of people are asking the same questions. So we put together this like FAQ troubleshooting guide, and please make use of that. So there'll probably be, when you're modeling things, people will run into issues. So just have a look at that if you run into an issue first. Anyways, sorry to really painfully slowly do this, but we've extruded out a little bit. Now I'm going to move this up. So just grabbing, so G to grab, I'm going to move up. And I might actually now, I'm going to tab out so that I can select my image. So I'm in object mode. And I'm actually just going to move this over. So G and then X, move it over to be about there. Okay. And that'll just enable me to kind of see relative to the mug where it should go. Like, what is the shape? I could do it by eye, but yeah, I figure might as well just, it's right there. Might as well just grab it and pull it over. So I need to position this about here, but you can see it's kind of getting like skewed, right? And that is because it's obviously coming in at like this slanted angle. So with that face selected, I need to rotate it. So I'm going to hit R to rotate, like so. Okay, so like that. All right, and I might, just trying to think. All right, I definitely need a loop cut, because obviously that bit that's coming out looking like a nub on our mug there. So I'm going to hit Control R to create a loop cut, and I'm going to pull it down just so that I can see it's like where it should join, basically at the base there. All right, great. And now face select mode, select that face again. And now we just have to keep extruding around. But what I want to do is I want to scale, just make the handle look a little bit thinner. So I'm going to select this top edge here, and I'm going to double tap G just so that I can slide it downwards a little bit to just make it a little bit thinner, because that handle obviously doesn't look as fat as what we had there. So, all right, so face select mode now, and now I'm going to start to extrude. So another extrusion, G to reposition, R to rotate it. And I just want to rotate it so that it kind of follows the contours of this. So I'm going to be rotating it like this kind of angle as we go around. So now E to do another extrusion, click, G, click, R. Now, by the way, there is another way to extrude, which is actually kind of perfect for this. But if you hold down Control and then right click, it will not only extrude, but it will also rotate the faces so that they align. And it can be a little helpful a bit more easier than doing this like E, G, R, S, G, R. Like, so just holding down Control and then right click will just place these little points and will rotate them so that you don't have to do all that rotation yourself. It really only works for these kind of appendages like this, but might as well use it because it's a very handy way to do it. Okay, cool. So now the tricky bit. It's not really that tricky. It's relatively easy to solve, but it's a conundrum, right? Like, how do we make this mesh with the rest of the mesh? And you do that by, like, the wrong way to do this would be to just like kind of like smush them together, right? And this is kind of like early 3D stuff. Like, a lot of stuff was like this. They kind of mashed stuff and intersected it together. But then you don't get that edge there where it like catches the light. And the only way to really get that is to actually physically like join this mesh together. So this face here has to be connected to this face somehow. And the easiest way in this case to do is to, first of all, we can see that this line here is like cutting into the middle of this this cup here, right? So we really need to just add a line that goes around there to make this area here like one face to match this handle. So I'm going to add that line by hitting Control R, loop cut, click, and then I'm going to slide it up to be, you know, roughly about there. That's fine. And then now, because I've intersected it, that went too far. So I'm holding down Z. Now this is a way of quickly changing the mode that you're viewing something in. And we'll get to these other two once we get to materials, rendering and stuff. But for now, if you just swap to wireframe mode, this will show you through the mesh. There is another way to see through a mesh, and that is to, at the top there, that little X-ray or Alt-Z is a hotkey for it. But that's another way to do it. But yeah, that you can see that's wireframe, and then, oh, hang on a second. Nope, that's X-ray. This is wireframe. But yeah, they're pretty similar. Anyways, so I'm going to select my face here, and I'm just going to pull it out just so that I can just grab it basically. And now I can go back to my solid view as before. Okay. So I touched on this briefly before, but like a mesh is made up of these individual points, right? This is what you're seeing when you're in vertice mode, these individual points. And each of those points, when you have 4 together, 3 or more actually, you can create a face. And so that's what that is. So essentially I need to create a new face for this section right here. So let's do that now. So I'm going to select those two, and I've just selected them by holding down Shift like this. And then I'm just going to hit F. F for face. Okay, and then I can do the same on this side, like that. And then I'm going to do the same.
Hold on, I just realized here it says November 27, 2025. Didn't our last video was like this year? Wait, did I accidentally...
So this is Blender. It can
did
do
I
3D modeling,
look at
texturing, lighting,
video?
shading, and rendering. And I'm going to show you how to do all
I might
S
just...
and then say
I
is to,
like...
you come up with a name, you know, underscore, whatever. I don't want to right? So that's, yeah, really useful. So I'm just going to add a 2 there, and I'm going to hit save. All right, so if you're watching this in the split version of the tutorial, you can click here to watch part 2, or if you're watching the combined. Welcome back. It is time to make our coffee mug look like a coffee mug and not like a sad little cup. So we could try to model this from our imagination, because like, hey, we all pick up coffee mugs, we know what they look like, or we think we know what they look like. Something that you learn very quickly in 3D is that when you model something from imagination, it almost always comes out looking
it is the same.
The way that it works.
Yeah, it is a video.
It's essentially,
I did not just watch a video from last year.
And then right click about there, that's fine. And then now, because I've intersected it, that went too far. So I'm holding down Z. Now this is a way of quickly changing the mode that you're viewing something in.
My bad.
And we'll get to these other two once we get to materials, rendering and stuff. But for now, if you just swap to wireframe mode, this will show you through the mesh. There is another way to see through a mesh, and that is to, at the top there, that little X-ray or Alt-Z is a hotkey for it. But that's another way to do it. But yeah, that you can see that's wireframe, and then hang on a second. Nope, that's X-ray. This is wireframe. But yeah, they're pretty similar. Anyways, so I'm going to select my face here, and I'm just going to pull it out just so that I can just grab it basically. And now I can go back to my solid view as before. Okay. So I touched on this briefly before, but like a mesh is made up of these individual points, right? This is what you're seeing when you're in vertical mode, these individual points. And each of those points, when you have 4 together, 3 or more actually, you can create a face. And so that's what that is. So essentially, I need to create a new face for this section right here. So let's do that now. So I'm going to select those two, and I've just selected them by holding down Shift like this, and then I'm just going to hit F. F for face. Okay, and then I can do the same on this side, like that. And then I'm going to do the same on the top. And then I'm going to do the same underneath. Okay. All right. So I've done it, and I did it deliberately this way because I need to show you the reason for this issue here. So we've got we've got the faces, so they should be going smoothly across here. But because of the way meshes work and the way they try to the way smooth shading works is it does it based on like a continuous flow of faces. And you will have noticed that when we created this, there was actually a face that is inside here before we joined it, okay? And I'll show you if we go into here. This area here, you should see there is a face that is right here. So because that exists, the smooth shader doesn't actually know that it's supposed to continue on because there's a face that goes down. So it's now kind of mixed. It doesn't know, like it has to create a smooth shading here, but then also one on the top there. And so it's done this weird hybrid thing where it's like it's tried to do it, but there's clearly something going on underneath. So what we need to do is just delete that face. So again, in face select mode, you select that inner face there. And by the way, when you're working in 3D, this is a really common thing beginners do, is they select the wrong face. So you can see how quickly
coffee mug. Where is the donut?
Onto the next part, which is going to be on materials and lighting.
It's the next part, I swear.
Object obviously to your mug here, so even if you screw it up, worst case scenario is you just delete it, and then you'll still end up with something that I actually had for my final result, which was a mug without a saucer. But if you want to add that in, it'll be a way to kind of take some of the lessons that you've picked up already and then try to remember them and the different steps and the things required to create it. Because whilst you've just created something now, it's the best time to try to recall that memory so that in the future, maybe in a few days or a few weeks from now, when you try to do something yourself, it'll be a lot more readily available to recall that information. So if you want to have a go at doing that, feel free to. Otherwise, join me in the next part and we'll get onto some materials.
This is the third part. Are we even doing donuts anymore?
Welcome back.
Donuts were not
in this part, we are going to be making the icing. Yes, the exciting icing for our donut. And my apologies, I did say in the last part we were going to do the texturing and lighting and stuff, but I just realized like we should finish the modeling because we just modeled this thing. So let's finish focusing on modeling before we jump to another concept. So we're going to do some icing. Yay. But first, we do have quite a lot of objects going on in our scene. We've got a camera, lamp, we've got an object, an image and stuff. We should try to organize some things. And some of you might have noticed in the top right-hand corner, you've got a list of all of your objects, right? This is called your outliner. And it is like a spreadsheet version of all the objects that are in your scene. And we're going to use it later on to like organize, like create collections. So it's like easier to see and organize things. But the first thing we need to do is just add names to things that make sense. So for example, our mug here is currently called cylinder. So if we had a big scene with lots of objects going on, we can't find it. So it's a good habit is you can as well. You can just hit F2 and that'll also do the renaming. So there we go. So now we've got names that actually make sense. I don't actually need the image anymore, even though I just renamed it. So I'm just going to delete that. All right. So we've now just got a camera, we've got a donut, a light, and a mug. Great. So let's make that icing. I'm going to move my mug out of the way. So G and then X, and I'm just going to throw it to the side so we don't see it anymore. And let's focus on our...
Let's focus on the donut now. Shush. Review selected. Oh. Meant to be... Okay, that's our donut. We're finally gonna work on the donut. Then...
donut. So we want to make some icing. And when it comes to something as challenging as icing, and really anything, there's so many different ways to make things in 3D, and every single method has a pro and a con. So for example, there is a fluid simulator in Blender. It's not very good, but it exists, and it is a way you could create icing. You could actually like create an object and then simulate it falling and splatting over it. The reason we're not going to do that, though, is that one, it's incredibly complicated. There's so many things that can go wrong with the simulation. Blender Simulator is not very good. And then also you don't have any control over the final result. You have to keep rebaking things. It's horrible. But there is another way, and that is to just do it by hand. And at first that seems slower, but you have much more control over it, and it's actually pretty easy to do.
Oh,
So I'm going to show you how to do that.
welcome
It's also
in.
a great way to introduce
Thank you for the
tools and
grab.
things
How am I?
get you familiar with
Tired.
different areas of Blender. So
And I'm kind of losing my mind
follows the
over
shape of the
this.
thing that it's on. So really, icing is
But it's
basically
donut.
the shape that we've got. It's basically half of this donut. So if we got half the donut, we're halfway there. Then we just need to add some variation to it to make it look like icing. So what I'm going to do is duplicate my donut. So Shift D, that is how you duplicate. You can also just go Object and then say Duplicate Objects there, Shift D. And when you do this, you are in the duplicated state, and it's saying now where do you want to place that thing? And we don't want to place it anywhere. We want to leave it exactly where it was. And so I'm going to hit Escape. Now, when you do that, it hasn't canceled the duplication, because you can see at the top there, we've now got donut and then donut 0.001. So there is two objects still there. They're just exactly in the exact same spot fighting for space. Something you actually never want to have is two objects sharing the exact same space, because then when a camera moves or something happens in an animation, you see like flickering, really, really bad. Anyways, I'm going to double click that. I'm going to call it icing just so that I can quickly tell the two apart. And I want to delete the bottom half of my donut. So I'm going to go into front view mode like that. And I need to go into edit mode next. And I want to select the bottom half of my donut. This is face select. Currently, let's go vertice select. Okay. And if I was to click and then just draw.
Okay, stop there and then duplicate objects. I think that's good for now. And then that. Come on, tap, and then why is it? Here. And then we select everything down here. But this is too far. Oh. Okay, let's watch how he does stuff.
Drag over the bottom half of my donut, it would appear as though as we have got half the donut. However, and this is an area of Blender that is not clear until you run into problems, but if I was to change my orbit, you can see it hasn't actually selected half the donut. It's only selected what it could see from that view. So you have to turn on toggle X-ray first or go into wireframe mode. Yeah, you have to turn that on first, then do your selection, and now it will actually select all the way through an object to the other side as well. By the way, if you find that you can't do this drag selection that I've got, if you've got instead a circle over your cursor, like what I have here, what that means is you have tapped the W key by mistake, which will cycle through in the top little side of your screen there. Different.
Okay, let's just try first. Wireframe, this one. Sorry. That's what we want, and then should we go until up? That good or like that? Because we want half of the icing, don't we? How do I delete this contour? Contour click. Oh. No. Okay, it's fine, we can do it again. Right, I hope that's good for now.
Different selection modes. Is so close to the other keys you need on your keyboard. So many people hit this, they hit the wrong key, and then they're in this thing, and then like nothing works. So like, yeah, you want to be in special selection or something as well. We're going to be doing some like stuff with this icing that's going to maybe mess some things up and you might run into some issues. I got to call it out again. I've got an Unstuck Yourself guide, troubleshooting guide for just this tutorial. It is free. Just click the link below and it'll take you there because I want you guys to be able to get through this tutorial, but there's so many little things that you could experience in this. And so I'll link to my website. Do this, it's saying which part of it you want to delete. Now, this is one of those cases where it actually matters like which one of these you select. Because if you were to select vertices, because it would appear as though that's what you need to delete. But if you did that, you'll notice you've got now less than half because along with the vertices selected is that final line that is cut through the middle there. So I don't want to delete that final line. I want to delete the other stuff. So in my options here, I've got an option for faces, which if we try that, you can see is the solution because when you are deleting the faces, you're only deleting what is a whole face. But these individual points here don't make up a whole face. This part does, so that's left behind. But all the other stuff was deleted. So anyways, we should now have half of a...
Okay, let's see again. Delete. Oh. Then add faces. Did we not delete this as well? Why has that happened? What did I do wrong? It's not. What is this mode? Viewpoint wireframe. Solid. Material preview. Android. I just do it. Wireframe. Why is it not deleting? I can't even see what's going on. Yelah hari ni. Buat apa? Buat apa sedih? Jangan sedih-sedih. Happy. Daga. Mana mana ada? Saya ada je kat sini. Awak yang tak ada kat sini. ngantuk nak tidur. Cinta kan ku mengasihimu sehinggalah di tiada lagi berlaku. Perempuan tidaklah mampu percaya. Terangilah gelapku walau dalam gelita. Okay, let's see. What is going on? Oh, is that the mode he chose? He chose this one. Oh, is that how it is? But it's not deleting. I don't know why. You know, it's fine.
A donut. So I'm going to turn off toggle X-ray now so I can see it. And if we clicked off, you'll see that it actually just looks exactly like a donut because again, they're sharing the exact same space. I do know it's there if I select it in the little outliner there, but it's completely invisible. So the first thing I want to do is I want to add some thickness to this icing. And this is something you should know how to do. You should know it. If you don't know it, you've not been paying attention. But if you go to your modifiers, there's a modifier, another clue. It is, of course, the solidify modifier, which adds thickness to any face. So now that we've added that, you think something's broken, it's not working. It is working, it's just that by default, the solidify will add thickness inside. So if you change this offset here to be the inverted, which is 1, it will now add the thickness the other way, which is what we need. Okay, so that's great. But of course, it doesn't look very good. There's a quote which I always repeat. Imperfection is the digital perfection, because the reason this looks fake, it's just perfectly straight. There's no way to get a laser cut icing across a donut like this unless you're using 3D software. So we need to add randomness to this edge here in order for it to look realistic to our eye. So I need to go into edit mode. And when we do that, we can't see the mesh because we've got our solidifier blocking our view. So I'm going to click this disable in viewport just to hide it so that I can see it. So when I turn it back on, I know it's there, but just while I'm editing it, in order to see it, I need to be able to have it turned off. So
I'm getting so tired. Should we end soon? Before that, let's add modifier. Generate skin, solidify, and offset. .0 enter. Yeah, this back part is the thing. What's wrong with it? I don't know what's wrong with it. Should I be in the tab mode or something? No, then I can't use it completely. What the hell? Eh? Oh. Okay, oh, should we just end here? I'm so tired, honestly. I'm like super tired right now. Should we decide on who to rate? Do you guys have any idea on who can we rate? Let's read into Sun. Sun is streaming right now. He's been streaming for what, 9 hours already. Damn. He's on a break though, so he said he will be right back. want to read into him. I'm so tired. Like, I can't go on anymore. I'm so sorry, everyone. Can you guys even hear me? Let's see. Tsunami is collaborating with Peach and Anxiety. Well, you're not streaming today? Oh, I would have waited into you. Save point, thank you for the save controllers. Save donut. You guys have any idea who we can wait? I'm just going to first guy page. Okay, if I wait into page, I can show her the artwork I made, but will that be fun? So I wait into page. Should I miss? Guys, can you guys hear me? I accidentally muted myself. Let's check out Shinami first. What is she doing? Oh, I think they're all doing like. They're doing pitch. Got too much stuff to deal with. Too bad. Are you still moving stuff? Better spend tonight fixing all of them. Fair enough. I think I really wait into oh, there we go. Into page. Don't ever start me on those bags. I haven't touched them. Oh shit! You're waking up at 6 tomorrow. Tough. Yeah, good luck with that. Okay, let's see. I think we can wait out now. Thank you everyone for coming. I'm so sorry. I'm so low on energy today. I should have streamed at a much later time when I'm feeling better. Thank you so much for coming though. Let's see. Let's wait into page. It's alright. Okay, okay, thank you everyone. Let's see. Wait into page, wait, subway. I know the feeling of knowledge flowing in. I don't know, it just feels scam because it said donut, but we spent one video looking at cups. I mean, I don't mind doing mugs, but I came for donut. But it's almost half of it was just doing cup, and like why can't he just do a separate tutorial for mug itself? Okay, be waiting, and then we're gonna wait to page. Should be fine. Okay, thank you so much everyone for coming. Thank you Lucas for looking. Thank you chatters. Thank you so much everyone that's chatting today. Thank you for chatting with me. Will I stream tomorrow? Tomorrow is Wednesday. I don't know yet. I need to check my schedule still. But I will get back to you guys, alright? I think I will stream. We will see. I will update in Discord. Okay. Then we're gonna wait to pitch. Because I want to show her the art that I made. But it's like really bad. But still. And they're also collaborating with Shinami, who has raided me before this. I'm gonna give. Okay, I'm gonna start with. Alright. Thank you again for coming by. Take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, and keep hitting on generative AI, alright? Don't do drugs, stay hydrated. I will see you guys later. Bye bye.